All right. So let's get started.
Oh, sure.
All right. So before we start, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Avinash Masih, and I'm a master's candidate for entertainment arts and engineering here in University of Utah, and I'm specializing in the technical artist track.
All right. So you are saying that you are specializing in technical artist track. So what is the role of a technical artist in this game industry? If you could explain on that.
Sure, sure. So the role of technical artist actually covers a very wide area. Just to name a few, it could be optimization, rigging, pipelining, VFX, shaders, and or lighting. So, and there are more. These are a lot of technical terms that are like specifically used in game industry or some of the entertainment industry. Uh, but but basically, what technical artists do is to make sure that the art and the engineering part of the game is they work in coherency. So nowadays, the game industry have been evolved so much that it has been using very big technologies, and the visuals have gone up as well. So sometimes, and not sometimes, like there are a lot of times in the game industry, there are so many tasks that are too technical for artists to handle or too artistic for a engineer or gameplay programmers to handle. So that's where the technical artists come in, and they technical artists are capable of using their artistic knowledge and technical uh, the engineering skill to achieve those tasks, and those are the parts where technical artists take on those tasks and provide something that would be possible for people from other track would be.
Domains, right? Yeah, actually, it's very true because, like, I have seen like not many industries, but in this game industry, I have seen there are lots of domains like technical artists, like with various kinds of programmers, engineers, various kinds of artists. So, like your job is to kind of like a middle point of art and engineering, like so
Yeah.
could you explain like what's a typical day goes for you, like do you like what kind of stuff you are focusing on, like a typical day of a technical artist?
Sure, sure. So on a day-to-day life, I mean, and speaking from just like personal experience, I'll say a typical day looks a lot like interacting with the team. Since we have to work with both artist and engineer, the interaction is the key. A general technical artist who takes on, multiple roles, he will spend a good chunk of his day to find out what tasks can be handled differently, what tasks can be taken away from artists or engineers, and uh, then be provided with a different solution. uh, he's also expected to know on a day-to-day basis what is the current situation of the game is, so what technology is being used, what the current mechanics in the game, so he can make his work around that. A technical artist is always expected to solve the current problem and not create a new problem. So that is one of the thing. When it comes to specialized technical artists, like people who are doing rigging or lighting or VFX, a typical day for them is to continue developing on it, testing that thing, and then showing it to the team, and then keep working on it till it becomes something that looks like all the other thing in the game, like starts to look coherent and then complete. So that's most of the thing.
All right, so like it's really a hard, like it's really hard for you, like doing all these kinds of work. Like I know this stuff because I am really interested in art as well as engineering, but
Mhm.
mostly in graphics. Like I was really interested in like Blender and Maya, and I tried to use Blender to make a game ready character, and I failed so miserably. So final, I would like to show you the my final product if you like to see this. Let me just show you that. Where
Sure,
is
sure.
where
It's good.
is
Like it would be good to actually understand people who will be watching this and trying to find out about tech art that um it's you won't get it right in the first time. That is the thing. It will take you some time to get it right, and that's totally cool. That is the learning process, and that makes you strong in this.
This is the final render I have
Oh,
made.
that's pretty good, I'll say.
Yeah, but you can see this area there is a lots of weight painting does wrong, and this is the
Yeah,
like this is lots
that's
of stuff.
because
Yeah,
yeah, that's because you try to rig it, and then you probably didn't knew you had to put extra loops there and stuff. But I'll still say you passed. If it's your first character or even first of five, I still say you passed.
yeah. Actually, it's my absolute. It's actually it's my first character. It's
Hmm.
not actually my first character. My first character is this. Okay, you can see this low poly character, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, this is my first character. So
No, I cannot see your other character. This is
all
still the
right,
same one.
all right. Let me just show you again. Where is this? All right. Okay, this is the low poly character I made first by using YouTube videos. So
Okay,
this is
okay.
the character. This is the first one, and that's the second one. But there's a lots
Okay.
of stuff doing wrong in the other one. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I was doing. So one of
Hmm.
the thing I would like to ask you that you were saying that you have spent a lot of time like rigging, like doing pipeline works and other. Like if you could explain in brief, like what's this rigging process, was their weight painting process in short, like if
Hmm.
the person is a newbie, he would understand like what is the importance of these things in game industry.
Okay. So just to make it clear, the kind of rigging that I have done in the game, it was mostly inanimate. I mean, it was not a character rigging. I have done a lot of different asset rigging. Like most of the part were just doors and some of the movable machines. Uh, but I can tell you that it is very important. So some of the tricks that I can like tell you right now is whenever you try to rig something in a game, if it's not a character and if it's a machine, it's always good to have um, all the moving parts. Make it different. Don't try to combine it in the same body. They should have a different mesh, so it's very easy for them to move, and they do not look like they are stretching. When it comes to characters that you're trying to rig, the most important things is to understand loops, uh, the edge loops and stuff. So you have to make sure whatever things that's gonna bend, like your elbows, that's gonna go straight and then bend. You have to make sure there are multiple loops here, so that when you bend it, they don't stretch a lot. And that is something that you have to make sure that all the mo- mm, all the parts that are gonna turn a lot, they should have all these extra loops. If you're trying to do facial animation, you have to rig your mouth. You have to make sure that there are a lot of edges, so when you change your expressions, like stuff like that, all those things should have additional edge flows. Whereas
All right.
things that gonna be static for most of the time, like your chest and yeah, your belly, or your whole back, that can have less number of uh, less number of polygons depending on if your character is shirtless or he's wearing a shirt. So those are some of the things. Um,
All right. I guess I think right now I am understanding my mistakes, what I have did on that character, because there is a lots of stuffs that gone wrong. One of the thing is edge loops and doing that loop cuts, and I didn't actually understand that this kind of like this area or this gene area or this mainly this area does need a lot of loops, and the main stuff actually I've done wrong is that I have done horrible retopology. The the loop flow was so bad. Actually, I used the Blender remake stuff, and I didn't do it manually. So it kind of do the lots of happens at work. So coming to your point, like you do a lot of rigging and you do a lot of technical stuff. So like I know you are an engineer, like you have done BTech, and after you have worked in Forza Horizon 4 dev team, like what drives you to be a technical artist?
um, I'll say it's different for different people, and I have had this conversation with some of my friends, and who's still studying to be a game developer, and some of them have gone to become some good game developers. It's different for different people. So for me, what it was when I started to make my first project in game, I used Unity for that, and when I went inside Unity, the first thing I wanted was to see something in the world. And then I went on and started making things in Blender and importing them in Unity. So I saw myself spending a lot of time in creating the world instead of going and so when I spoke with one of my friend who is in engineering, when he opened up Unity and started working on it, all he did was place a cube and then started adding physics to it. So for him, the mechanics drove him. He wanted to go in and code there and make something. He did not give he did not give much attention to what he's looking at, like the art or stuff. But for me, it came down to I wanted to look something in the world first, and then I wanted to start developing on it. That showed that I have a good interest in arts, game arts, and I spent some time learning the game arts. But when I was out of it, I thought a lot of thing is manual, and then I started to find out ways to optimize it to make my work less by using some of the codes which already is supported by a lot of the softwares and engines and stuff. And that's when I found out that I really like art, but I also want to use my technical stuff to fast up that or add something that is like that might take a lot of time manually. So that's where I found out that I want to do the technical art instead of game engineering or pure art, game art.
All right, that's a really great explanation. Might gives me the answer of my question why why you have choose technical arts over game engineering. The one of the questions I had in my mind. But the next obvious questions coming from your point is that like what's the typical difference between a tech art and a game arts? Like what's the basic difference? Like is there any
Yeah.
difference or both are kind of connected with one another?
It is connected for sure. It's connected, but there's big difference between both of them. So before answering your question, I'll say a lot of technical artists are like the people who were full-time game artists at first. Technical artist is something you can say that, when people start to feel that I want to know more, like the game artist who thinks that I want to know more, they are curious about, hey, what if I can do more than just art? What if I can make my art uh, do certain things that I don't have to do manually. So when artist starts to think that I want to create a tree, and then I want to make sure I want to make multiple version of it, and then I want to be the person who wants to make a transition. So It is a smaller tree, then it becomes a bigger tree, then it becomes, the full grown tree. Stuff like that, when starts to happen with game artists, they start to transition to, some of the tech art part. Uh, so the tech art is someone who tries to use the art and implement in the game engine more than a static thing. you know he's someone who wants to make a building, and then he also wants to make sure that the material on the building changes over different time. So in a snowy weather, he wants it to show snows around in the walls and stuff. In a rainy weather, he wants to make sure that there's some kind of reflection on the wall, on the building. And then on summer, he wants to make sure that there are it's very dry, and then things look like that. In fall, he might want to show some leaves on top of it. So when those curiosities starts to come in a game artist, he starts to become a tech yeah he starts to transition to a technical artist. And the part that is, more than art, where he wants to make it dynamic, and then he wants to do much more than just, a static thing in the game. That is what a technical artist is like. And that is also what, like, one or two section of the technical artist. There's more that's being done in technical artists. So
All right.
yeah.
So like you are a game artist first, and you have this immense curiosity to do something more, and
Yeah.
then you go forward with it and make all this stuff not static and not purely like totally laborious, because lots of game art stuff you have to do yourself. But tech art, as a tech artist, you can like kind of automate itself, make great pipelines, and make great tools for other engineers and people who work with that. So that's really clearly it clears my like it clears my idea about technical artists, because one of my friends is hoping for going to like tech art field, and she was asking me like, bro, what should I do? I'm like, bro, I don't know, I will ask him, and I will get back to you. So
Sure.
thank you so much for that explanation. So coming to the next question that I had for you, that is like, you are saying that you guys do a lot of stuff, like you guys have done a lot of stuff. What's the biggest challenge you face, like daily? Like, what is the biggest challenge you face as a technical artist?
I'll say it is always the software and technology. Mm, a tech artist is expected to know all, like, and I'm not even kidding. Like, a resume of a tech artist will contain, 3D softwares, and then language, and then a lot of engines, and then some of the software that is very specific to technical art. So we have to know how to model, we have to know how to use game engine, we have to know how to use C++, C sharp, to make tools, Pythons, and a lot of other technology. Then we are supposed to know Houdini also. I mean, a lot of artists also use Houdini, but then if it's very intensive in using Houdini and all, a tech artist has to dedicate his time to do that. So that is something we face every day. Like, and we are expected to know everything that is latest. If you are in a project and you suggest something that is older, that's like no. You have to know what's latest there. Like, if you are suggesting a solution that has also, gone out of trend, and there's something new that's in place of that, you should supposed to know that. So it's a lot of catching up with the technology and software, knowing what's the update that comes, so frequently. Like, every software has an update in 2-3 months, so you're supposed to know what those new features do, so you can implement it in your work and make sure things are updated and faster than, they were 2 months back. So
All right.
those are the
All right.
things.
So like, you guys have to know like lots of engineer stuff and lots of
Mm.
art stuff. Like I am like, I don't have any words for you, because you have like, you guys do everything, like there's nothing I haven't heard that you guys don't do. So like coming back to your point, that how do you all manage it? Like, don't you feel stressed about it? Like you have to do so much stuff, and it's just coming for your curiosity and passion, or you guys have to do something like you don't want to do but you have to.
I mean, it's sometimes that we have to do what we don't want to do, but you'll see those things only when you are, working in personal projects or you're working in very small team, which is very less in manpower. I'll say how we overcome. So if you like, obviously this will happen, some years, like couple of years after you have like break into the industry and doing good work at some place. You have to always understand you are, although you're supposed to know a lot of things, you should not take on a lot of things. That means if it's a game engineering task or gameplay programming task, you if there are people to do it, don't go in it. Just ask, just let them do this, even though if it's very heavy on work. I mean, again, if it's a very small team, it might come to you and you need to support them. But if it's not that case, don't do it. Don't stress yourself with doing things you're not supposed to do, because you will find a lot of stuff that you can do. Always go, like, we always sit in all these meetings and make sure that we know where we can contribute. And we always try to take up some work from artist or engineer and achieve it in a way we can, like we as a technical artist can, by using all those engine features and all those technical art knowledge. So those are some ways that I personally think we can reduce the burden, is to not take on unnecessary stuff. If there are people to take on that, it's good to support them in some way, but yeah, never stress yourself out to do like to because again, you want to learn and you want to grow as a technical artist. You don't want to learn and grow as a game engineer or a game artist. that will not that will not even help your resume. Not it will I mean, you won't see anything new coming from it, because if you are a good technical artist, you already know how something is being done, and you don't need to know more than that, because that just gives you kind of uh, it does not help you as a technical artist. It just gives, because if even if you try to get in some very uh, uh, in a stuff that is not related to you, it becomes burdenous. And then if another and yeah, something to mention here is, if you're not doing it right, the game engineer or the artist will be just kind of sad, because they have something different in mind, and then you went in and did it other way. So yeah, those are the things that you can do always to make sure that you are taking on good chunk of work that's yours, and then doing it right, is to make sure that you do your part, and then take the work from other department and do it your way.
All right. So, like, the answer is to be passionate about it and do your stuff, and don't
Mhm.
interfere in like other stuff, because you might end up screwing it, and the maybe you will have by the in the process you kind of sabotage the whole project. So that's kind of like the answer for me, right?
Yeah, it's not that serious. I was just saying that some of the effect you will end up creating is that, and that will also stress you, right, to actually
Yeah,
take on
absolutely.
different. Yeah, so that is what I was suggesting, is uh to make sure that you're not overwhelmed with all this work, is to make sure you always stick to your work. And even if you want to take on some new tasks, make sure you do it in your level, instead of doing in purely game programming or stuff like that. And this is something you will only face on personal projects and small teams. It will never happen once you are established or in a big industry.
All right, like yeah, that's true. Like when I work on my like my I spend most of the time working on my small projects and learning stuff, and most lots of time I don't find anything Like honestly, I'm an engineer and I like to work on code stuff and heavily on maths and like to do stuff from scratch. But there's lots of art stuff that I can't do. Like one thing I'm not really good at, and second thing I'm not really interested at. So that's the kind of stuff I can't do, and I find lots of like difficulties for it. That's because I'm a one-person team, and sometimes a small team. But like a big team, like you have worked on Forza Horizon 4 team, like that's a huge team, and Forza Horizon 4 is one of the kind of a pivotal point of racing games in all over game industry. So if you could kind of share your experience on working on Rockstar Games and working on Forza Horizon 4.
Okay. So I had a lot of fun working in my company. It was pretty good. The culture was great there. So when it comes to Forza Horizon 4, like I spent some time just helping out my fellow technical artist who was uh, who was like the main technical artist of Forza Horizon 4 project, and I spent uh, time helping him do some of the tools in the 3D software they are using. I cannot say the name, NDAs, but yeah, I spend some time helping him out when artists ask for some of the tools they want to use, which will help them in modeling and texturing and stuff. So we spend some time on those 3D softwares and try to automate some of the process for the artist. Um, and yeah, that's most of the work I did in Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, like I have gone through your like whole website and like portfolio stuff, and that was amazing. Like you are not really very senior to me, I guess. We are kind of like a same old, I mean, a same age group, I guess. But you have done a lot more stuff that I don't even imagine I could do. So that was really inspiring for me, because the moment Karan told me about you, I knew that I had to talk to this person, because he had like so much experience. And honestly, I love talking to people. That's the one of the main hobby I have. Like I love talking to people, mainly on the serious stuff, mainly on the stuff that I love working on. And you are one of the people. So thank you so much for explaining this journey. But
Sure.
there is other questions that I have from what some of the viewers, maybe how small the number is, but some of the viewers
No,
have
sure.
made some questions for you. So
Oh,
let's just go through into that. The person says that okay, you have uh, worked on various games and simulation processes. What's the difference of them from a technical artist point of view?
oh, yeah, I can easily boil down to two or three things. First one will be accuracy. Uh, so when I say accuracy, a game is mostly about exaggeration, I'll say. You have to make everything fun. So you take this, real world concept, maybe it's not real world concept, but you exaggerate it. Basically, you think about it and you exaggerate it and then place it in front of the users. So there's a lot of room to, fake it or, tackle it differently. A lot of it helps you in optimizing it a lot, because you don't have to use, so for distance things, you don't have to use a mountain or, a tree. You can just place a plane and then add texture to it. It will look good. But when it comes to simulation, I have seen that a lot of it comes down to accuracy. So you have to be really accurate with your work. That limits you a lot. Means you cannot fake a lot of things. Something, uh, um, if you have to show something, it should be accurate. And with simulation, the data is always a lot. In games, we make our own world. We can decide how many things we want to put in there, what kind of environment we want to make, and stuff like that. Although they are inspired from real world, they are not real world. It's a
Yeah.
game world. But when it comes to simulation, uh, they expect to replicate things. And when it comes to replicating something, we we still don't have power to replicate the real world. I mean, obviously there are games like, open world games like GTAs, and we have seen a lot of Ubisoft games like Watch Dogs and stuff. They do a lot kind of replication from the real world, but again, those things are still, doing it in a different way, faking it. So those buildings are just static mess. They don't have anything inside. They're hollow and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So yeah, it's totally based on their creative freedom. But like a simulation, the stuffs are really technical, and because the final audience would know what's the thing is, and they would know the faults in there, and they actually
mhm.
have an opinion on that. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's the kind of stuff you are telling about, right?
sure, sure. That is something I'm telling about. You cannot exaggerate a lot in simulation. You have to be true to the source material and then replicate it as much as possible. So, yeah, it becomes really hard to use a lot of tricks, and you have to find out ways to replicate things and not kill your, project with very heavy additions.
All right. So like there's it's kind of a personal question, but which kind of stuff you like to work on? Like the game
Mhm.
stuff
Sure.
or the simulation stuff? Which kind of stuff you do as a personal hobby project that you absolutely love to do?
Personal projects. I would really love to prototype things out. I mean, with I have used Unreal Engine for most of my game development journey, and I understood the blueprint part of Unreal, which is like it's visual scripting, and I like to do a lot of prototyping, and I always try to implement VFX in there, and a lot of shaders in there and stuff like that. So I personally like to do a lot of prototyping stuff out and then hand it over to engineers, because what I make is always heavy, because visual scripting is not the ideal way to make game mechanics. But I always like to prototype stuff out, so to see, in a very quick way, will it work, will it not work, what will happen if this is done this way or that way, and then hand it over to engineers to make it much performant. And then some of that part can also go to artists to you know hey, make this manually, or make this, take a artistic stride on it and then do it. I also like to do a lot of tools and optimization, so I always like to go in and make stuff that can be, a button thing. If you have to do this thing that requires 4 or 5 tasks, I like to automate it. So you can just go select what you want and click on it, and it will do that 4 or 5 tasks in one go. And then something like that. I also like to do that a lot.
Like that's one of the questions I was meaning to ask you. Like
Mhm.
honestly, how do you know what to do? Like where do you learn all this stuff? Because I would love to like do this all the stuff. Like there are lots of stuff I would love to automate, but I don't know how to learn that. So where do you learn how to do it?
I'll say like the key to that is to do it first manually. Like tinkering around in game engines and softwares would be the best way to go about it. So if you know how to do it manually, you know all the steps involved, you know all the things you can, do right, all the things that can go wrong. And when you know how to do it manually, you'll be able to automate it, because you'll know that after this step, this all things needs to be checked. If those are correct, you need to do the next step. And then when after that step, you have to again check if all those things are correct, and then go to the next step. And that is how it is, like it starts. And then when you understand the whole process and you have tried out different ways to do all the process, you will be able to find the optimal way to do it. And then you combine all those things and add all those checks, and then you just add them into a small script that can be just accessed with a button click, and then you have your tool.
All right. Like that's like it's kind of like do first yourself, then trial and
Yeah.
error things out, and then just write a script to do all that stuff. That's
Yeah.
really great. I would really love to like work with that. And I saw that when you are working with like Overkill's Walking Dead, you have done a lot of stuff in that to create tool creation and pipeline. So if you could like tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, sure. So yeah, Overkill the Walking Dead is one of the projects that I worked on extensively. Like I have spent 3 months on doing QA. That gives me a good, idea of what the whole game is, because I was looking through submissions and all, and I was checking all these things. A lot of things that I have done there is like, making tools. So I'll go in their 3D software and then automate a lot of stuff. So there will be a lot of requests from artists, and in their day-to-day life, they will have to check after they have made an asset, a model. They have to check if the naming convention is right, if all the translation is good, if they have made it the right size, if they have made sure that so there are a lot of technical things even in modeling. So you have to check for smoothing groups, you have to check for normals and a lot of those things. And to do those tasks, they have to spend 25 to 30 minutes in all the asset, because they have to go check the property, see if the property is not right, they have to go and use a tool or do it manually, like fix those things. So they will end up spending 25-30 extra minute on asset after it is completed. So we as a technical artist team in the company, we created this tool. We called it asset analyzer or quality analyzer. What it used to do is used to focus on that object you have selected and check for all those anomalies, and let you know if something is not right. And if it is not right, you can click in that tool to fix it. That thing reduce their 25 to 30 minute work, 30-minute downtime for every day, or whenever they have completed their project, and reduced it to like 2 or 3 minutes. That tool was so fast and so productive that it increased the whole production uh, you know speed. So artists were able to complete it and not spend any time in checking those things, because that tool was doing for that. That is one thing. And then, yeah, a lot of other things in the engine as well, where like, so we were doing realistic game. You must have heard of uh, this thing called PBR.
Yeah, absolutely. Physics based rendering, I guess.
Yeah. So we were doing this thing in our game, the Overkill Walking Dead. Was using realistic thing. So there was a lot of tool inside even engines that will let you check the PBR values in the scene that you are seeing. So if you find that out, in engine, if you can find that out, you can directly select that object, edit it, uh, to whatever means you want. But it was so easy to not open everything and see if it's right or wrong. You can see it directly in front of you in the game viewport, that this thing is wrong, this thing is wrong, this thing is wrong. So it's like you will be easily able to collect that needle from the heap, by using those tools. And that increases your life quality so much. Like, it's like not even imaginable. Like thousands
Yeah,
of thousands of objects, and you can
it's
find one.
like you guys have like made the production speed so like you have speeded up the whole production so much, like they have been able to do a lot more stuff than they were planning to do. So
Yeah.
that's incredible. Like I was reading all the development process. Like I am a huge avid reader, and I kind of like reading a book where all the development cycles of like 10 to 12 games like Uncharted, for Hello Star, like Hello Wars, I guess, Star Wars, and then that was a game what Dragon Age Inquisition. Every time they were in the middle of something, a technical artist was doing their job right to make the production process so much easier for them, and that's when the game started like booming. That's really incredible. So Thank you so much for explaining that to us. I guess we have reached through lots of questions we have. Now, the final and some questions is that in this COVID scenario, does that affects your work process?
Okay. I don't think it affects our tendency to work. We can still work in like a full uh, full potential, because it's always, even though it's like a team project, it's always like you have to find your ways out and then do it on your own. It's also easy to connect with people like through online, so platforms. The only thing, like, again, I might irony myself what I was saying in the first thing, is like the uh, that bonding you have when you work with a team, that is something that is missing. Yeah, you cannot meet with people personally every day and share
Yeah, that
and
people vibe,
bond.
that is something like that is something I really miss, because I've been doing this like doing a lot of stuff in like this scenario. I'm doing this podcast, but one of the thing I had to do is that which was very difficult for me. I had to defer my MS to next year,
Mhm.
and I was really hoping that I could meet the team and work with them. So I didn't wanted to lose that, and that's why I chose to defer. And I really wanted to have that full yeah, like in-person experience. And I
Yeah.
was really hoping that I could meet you guys there. And but I guess that was kind of not possible, because by the time I will join, you guys might have to like you move to another city or something.
Yeah.
So I guess we will meet. So now the coming back
uh,
to the questions, like final advices for some beginners. How do you get started from tech artist to being a tech artist?
okay. I will really say, to be a tech artist, you have to go in this three softwares and engines, tinker around, see what they provide, what they have, like going in 3D software, making a small model or something not too complex, and then try to open up that script editor and script something out, try to do things through code. Same with engine, go and use whatever basic things they have given, and then try to use their scripting and stuff like that. So with Unity, you'll do C sharp, and with Unreal, you'll do visual scripting. Uh, really use those free resources that there are. Use those free resources like engine and 3D software like Blender, and then that will really get you started in understanding both the art and the technical thing that is being provided, and then you will be able to find what you like, and then you will be able to streamline that. Okay, I want to get this, that I want to get better at this. So that is where you start. Go in and tinker around, think the free softwares and free resources that are available for game development.
All right. So one of my friends is asking for like I told you, one of my friends is trying to join as a
Mhm.
technical artist. So she was asking for what is the portfolio of a technical artist should look like. Like you have worked in like in this game industry in big projects. So what you would advise any beginners to do?
Okay. I will say, like, even I have updated my portfolio. Previously, it was a different portfolio. So you have to really showcase your art. Like, again, it doesn't have to be traditional art. It can be 3D models. And again, like, as a beginner, you are not expected to make very high end art. You can just show your initial artwork, like the art you showed, like the character. It totally works, something like that works. And then you also have to show some of the things that you are doing in tool. So in my case, what I had initially was one of my project from undergrad. I made that game in Unity with like one or two friends, and I showed that game, and that showed my technical part. And then I had an art portfolio that I have made a hard surface modeling, and then a character model, and then and a house scene. So those showed some of my art knowledge, and then the game showed my technical knowledge. So I will say showing some of those, and you don't have to stress a lot about getting a very good quality at the first. Keep doing it, keep updating your portfolio. If you get a better work next time, add it, replace the old one, and then also keep working on the game or the tools or add it. So some of those things will really help to show some knowledge in both part. Will be really good to uh, break in as a technical artist.
Yeah, so that's really great advice. Actually, I'm going to take that advice on my portfolio as well. I'm definitely going to take that. And one of the things I was thinking when you were talking, one of the things I was thinking, like, you must be into some kind of movie. Like, you love movies, right? You love like characterizations and making characters, making stuff, making animated movies. You like that too much, right?
I like movies a lot.
Yeah, like, the very reason I started making this character, because I wanted to make one of my animated movie. And believe it or not, I made one animated short of like 6 seconds, but it took me like 4 or 5 hours, and I made one. So if you are interested, I will definitely try to show you that.
Sure, go ahead. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember doing animation that was so janky at the first, but yeah, it was something that's what I call like tinkering around. You should go in and not be embarrassed to showcase it. That's
There's a
that's
lots
yeah.
of camera mistakes down there, because lots of people said you should focus this camera on this side and this side. Oh, bro, I don't even know what I'm doing until I have
Yeah,
done this. So,
that's totally fine.
just let me show you this. All right. Where is this? Yeah, share screen, and here it is. You can see the scene, right?
Oh, it looks good. Yeah,
Yeah, so this is
go
kind of
ahead.
a Harry Potter spell casting, like, kind of thing. And I was just seeing that Harry Potter stuff, and I thought, okay, like, maybe do this. And I do this on iClone and Blender
Mm-hmm.
using. So that's the kind of stuff I have done so much, and I'm really really interested in animation. But unfortunately, I couldn't learn animation because there are not a lot of stuff learning animation from YouTube, and most of them are from Maya, and Maya is paid, and we don't like to pay a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I'll say like people should get inspiration from you that you're showcasing your work, even though it's like first draft and there are mistakes. It's always good to work on it even though you don't know about it and showcase it to people. Some people will criticize it, but a lot of people, whatever they say, even if they're criticizing it or just praising it, they will say something good in those conversation, and then you can get better at it. So it's really important to work, do something, and then showcase it. And yeah, I'll say that go on and try to find more stuff in YouTube, because I'll say there is a lot of stuff in YouTube. Uh, it is so like it's kind of funny that when I started when I started working in my, like, when I knew that I want to go in this and then I tried to find resources, and initially my YouTube searches did not show me anything. It's after a while that you keep searching for a lot of things, and then you start to see a lot of things. That is the thing. So you have to be really keen with your searches, because YouTube algorithm adapts to what you search. And then once you have been persistent for a long time, it will start showing you. It is also good to ask people for resources. So you can ask me for some resources. I might be able to find more links, just because I have been searching in YouTube all this game development process and stuff for a long time. But I'll say this is something that I found, that initial months of my learning process, I was not able to find anything. But then I started finding out GDC talks, and then I started finding out a lot of Unreal talks, and then I also found out a lot of Blender talks. that showed rigging and animation. And then after a point of time, I thought there is nothing that our YouTube does not have. Obviously, there are some of the minute things that YouTube does not tell you, or someone has not made a video about it. You can always try to find out blogs about it. So people also write about it instead of putting it in YouTube. People write about it, explain it with text and images. But I will say there is a lot of resources out there. You just have to hit it right. Like you have to find that thing. It takes some time, but you will find it. So keep searching. The persistence is the key.
Yeah, and one of the thing I would like to add with your advice is that it really helps you understand what you like and what you don't like. And while I was making this animation, I felt so alive. And when I was making this character, at first I was really interested because I made the whole like the sketch, like the modeling sheet, and I was sculpting out box modeling the kind of
Mhm.
stuff. And the part when I went to topology and other like texturing UV maps and like normal map stuff, I really lost my interest, and I thought, okay, this is the first time, and this is probably the last time I'm doing, because there are much better people who are much interested in this stuff will help me. So okay, so that's the kind of stuff I thought about. So we will end with a last question: is that
Sure.
any advice you will give any game dev beginners? Like if you were starting right now, what we will do right now, like
Right now.
knowing all the mistakes you have done, what we will do right
Right now, what I'll do is, first of all, if you are a gamer and then you're coming into game development, I mean, I can say 90-95% of people who wants to do game development are gamers. Like there are only like less amount of people who are not a gamer and then want to do a game development. So obviously you're a gamer. First of the thing to start is to really understand that game development is different from gaming. There are a lot of steps involved, and then you have to change your mindset that you're going into something that is gonna make something cool, but you have to spend a lot of time. And the being patient is one of the thing in game industry. You will not see anything on your first day. So first of the thing that I'll say is to prepare yourself for those things. That it's a long process, and it's something that you have to do with very care and love, and then you have to be passionate about it. Passion uh, is the main thing that drives game developer. So that is something as the first step. The second step will be a lot of the things that I said about starting as a technical artist is you have to go in and start making something. If you're an artist, start making something in those free software like Blender. Make something, iterate on it, make it better. Mm, if you're a game engineer, take on Unity or Unreal, make something, make anything, make a small thing, make a box drop from a height, make a collision thing, make something that will tell you so much, because while you will be making that one thing, you will learn so much. And that is what I'll say. Start doing those things. Once you have found the passion, once you have overcome all the obstacles of doing that one thing, or doing it multiple times, once you have been through that, then you can decide on if you want to continue on this journey. If you want to look if you want yourself if you want to see yourself doing these things more, uh you know with more, I'll say, once you start doing this, you also start feeling cool about it. You feel like uh you feel so good about doing all these things. So you have to foresee yourself at the beginning. Do you want to become that kind of person that are doing these things with all those knowledge, and then still feeling cool about it, and then being patient? That is one of the things, like training yourself to understand the game development process, and then going in and then finding that persistentness and then passion is the main thing. to start as a game developer. And then after that, you can always like go ahead and make a portfolio and start applying, and then it's a lot of, it will take some time because this is a very competitive space. It will take some time, but if you have been through that initial, molding yourself and changing your perspective about it, you will stay here for a while. And then I'll also suggest people to keep doing something they are already doing. If they are doing a job, if they are already doing something, keep doing it, and then start to uh, take your time, extra time, and pursue this, because that will not that will not that will not make them regret if they are waiting for it to break into industry and stuff, because this is so competitive that I do not advise people to leave what they are doing currently and then go into this, because struggle is a part of being a game developer before you get into industry. So I really encourage people to keep doing what they are doing, and then do this on the side, because that initial struggle is the thing that will make you successful coming in the future time. And then there are people like me who got like good opportunity at the beginning, and then they were able to break into the industry, but it might not be the story with everyone. So even now when people ask me what I should do, I tell them to keep doing what they're doing, and then find extra time to do this, and then really understand the process and understand because the initial year really trains you to go for another 30-35 years of your life.
Yeah, that's really really true. Like I'm just going to share my story. Is that
Mhm.
in 2017 I had kind of hit a bump. Like I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know what kind of direction I would go, because in India, if you are doing engineering, either you have to take a job or you are going to higher studies. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of other options. But I was kind of like I was really like kind of a research and development like kind of person, but at the same time I'm kind of a entrepreneurial, and I kind of made my first company, and I had investors. I got investments from with like Indian government and all, and then I stopped and doing this game development stuff. So this is the only thing that gives me peace about doing
Mhm.
something that, okay, I am doing something for myself, not not for like obviously for others, but I'm doing something for myself, and I'm happy about it, and I'm feeling, first time in long time I'm feeling I am really cool. And when I tell people I make games, so like, really, you make games? What kind of games? This kind of stuff helped me choosing to go for a master's in one
Mhm.
of the premier institute in the whole world. And I am really inspired with the people like you and like Karan and
Thank you.
Vishal, who I have talked with and interacted with. They have inspired me so much of doing things. So I can't thank you enough. But still, thank you so much for inspiring all of us and
Welcome, welcome.
giving your values in this episode. Thanks for coming to Tyrant Podcast, and I hope we'll see each other in Utah.
Sure, I hope so too, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.